Throughout history, humanity has tried to recreate heaven on earth. Rome sought universal law, but fell to pride. Israel aimed for divine governance, yet stumbled under human frailty. America reached for liberty and justice, but still wrestles with selfishness and division. These experiments show our potential and our struggle to transform divine inspiration into living systems of fairness and light. So let's look at these attempts throughout history. Let's go, look at the Greeks, and I think that they gave us a very good philosophical basis. And the good thing about Alexander the Great is that he expanded that into the ancient world. And what I really liked about him and why he is the great is that in his process and the way he conquered is that he didn't destroy. He unified. He, when he defeated an enemy, he incorporated that, and he gave those people that he incorporated their liberty, everything. So from there we can see how this person, really was inclusive. Even though he was a conqueror, he was inclusive, and he brought the Hellenic culture, the Hellenic philosophy to the world. And then we see, from that buildup, because that was like the basis, we see the Roman Empire, and we see how Rome conquers Greece, and how really Rome takes these concepts, because they do take them and then they readapt them, and the democracy from the Greeks and all that, and we see how Rome sets it up, really expands it worldwide. The known world at that time, Europe, Asia, or the Middle East, Africa, and suddenly it turns into an empire. And we see that, in some cases, republics have to turn into empires, or maybe not. But in this case, Rome did, and that's when it was the whole glory. But then it becomes fractured. There's inner fractures that really, even though they were great, and it was really impossible to beat them, they failed, they collapsed, and we entered into very dark ages, to which we then, the final pull out of those dark ages was really the French Revolution and the U.S. Revolution. Imagine that whole period of time where we did have advances, but the reinstatement of these ancient government systems where we have the reflection of heaven. And then what the Enlightenment really brought us, and after the Renaissance, is these ideals of separation of state, of all these structures. So I try to summarize the history of the world really briefly there, but we see a pattern there. And what can you tell us? Because history really fascinates me, and I love diving into this. But what can you tell us about these ancient cultures and modern cultures as well, civilizations?
Well, what you said really struck me about what might have been the regret that the heavens must feel that we did not succeed in any of those attempts, and what might have been now if we had. And so breaking it down as far as, Greece, they didn't have a spiritual foundation for their brilliant philosophy. I don't think we've even matched their philosophy yet today. I think that when you look back at the philosophers of those days, we just don't have real thinkers like that anymore. We should aspire to get into philosophy again. And that would be very inspiring for our kids. We always ask, what can we do for the younger generation to get them inspired to live well and look beyond just, starting from square one every generation. We need to inspire them to build upon the shoulders of you know, great thinkers. And so we have to start now. But as far as Rome goes, there were a lot of internal problems that they had.
Mhm.
They said several reasons. They didn't have a spiritual foundation soon enough to support an empire like that. You really have to have a an ideal religion that pulls all of those elements together to be successful. And part of that is they didn't participate in government. And really, when you look at, let's just use the United States for an example. What percent of people actually participate in government? And really, even at a local level, even going to a school board meeting or to work, at the local level, and offer to do anything. Very few, I would say less than 10%. And that was a problem with Rome when you look back. They didn't participate in government. There were the elites and everyone else. If everyone had actually participated, that might have helped that not collapse in time for the religion to take hold and really support it. They also were pleasure seekers, entertainment seekers. I think we can all relate to that, that that might be something that we're facing as well. So instead of, I mean, I'm not saying we shouldn't be able to watch TV or the kids shouldn't be able to play games or whatever, but we
But
should all,
yeah, it's a hedonism that taking it to that extreme.
right. And so if we would spend just even some of that time and put it toward the effort of the whole, the government, the civilization that we're actually creating, it would, it maybe, I mean, we're looking at our 250th anniversary this year in the United States.
Hmm.
And they're saying that, no republic has ever lasted that long. And will it continue? And so we're actually facing things that are
Yeah, we can see it.
could take us down, really.
Yeah,
And we could be a fail. And I don't think that the heavens want us to fail. They want us to succeed. They want civilization not to crash. They want us to continue to progress. So for the young people, they can't all be taking jobs that are just material jobs just for money.
yeah, yeah,
They have
and that's what's happening. That's why people are going crazy and really losing themselves in
the
that
kids are in
that spiral.
despair because we're not maybe leading them to show them, there are more important things to think about, and that there isn't doom in front of us, that there is a bright future that we should plan for, that we should make happen, that we should work toward.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then they wouldn't be, we wouldn't have suicides, we wouldn't have kids on drugs. That's another thing. The escapism, I think, is huge. It's a big problem for us. So
definitely. And you were saying, I mean, a lot of stuff. Again, we're going to have to break this down. And you were talking about how, both cases, Rome and Greece, one of the things that they were missing was religion. And let's clarify this in that this isn't that, oh, we have to have like a state religion that, governs everybody. We're not saying that. And let's put this example. We can talk about the nation of Israel, whose foundation has been really a lot, really based on God. I mean, they're the ones that gave us the Bible. Even Christianity, and even in Islam. I mean, the foundations of that's why it's Abraham, the father of all the three religions. So everything takes root in that, and how we can see up. You may be in favor of Israel, you may be against Israel. This is not a political discussion, but you have to state the fact that the nation of Israel, the Israelites, not the Jewish, the Israelites have been a nation since the ancient times, and that glue has been that religion. And I think what I like about Judaism is that it doesn't, give us so many symbols that we have to, that kind of just give us the blueprint, and that's who it kind of gives you that liberty to create the image of God in your mind as however you want to please it. So I really like that about Judaism and how it presents God, and how it was the foundations for the rest of many of the religions. And it's really interesting how you're saying about why these civilizations failed. It was religion, and very particularly, I believe, and there's an episode that I did on specifically on the United States. But one of the things that I mentioned is that I believe the U.S. is a theocracy, not in the classical way that, okay, we have an imam, or we have the Pope, or we have whomever, Well, the Pope doesn't have like political. Well, he does have the political power in Rome, but well, if somebody wants to clarify me and give me something, put it in the comments. But anyways, the point is, what I'm saying about the United States is that it doesn't really it's not one religion, it's not one specific religion, or we're going to use this Methodist or Catholic or within Christianity or Judaism. It's the acknowledgement of God, and whomever and however you want to view him in that way, but that he is recognizing that we have rights, and there's this universe or this creation of God, and that we within that creation have certain rights which God gave us, and which we, as stewards of those rights, because like we were saying, liberty is not free, stewards of those rights, we have to protect them, and we have to ensure that all those around us are, being safeguarded to protect those rights. Like you were saying, we can see that somebody can kill us. We have the right to live, but somebody can kill us. But we need that structure. So it's really interesting in seeing the U.S. how the reason for being is for a government creative of among individuals, because that's what it says. It's not that God is giving you a king because that's who he appointed. It said, you people have to secure these rights. You people have to make sure that your rights are protected. So you have to make sure that you create governments that secure those rights. And also when that government, like you're saying, and we see that suddenly it turns corrupt and it goes into, the decadency, you have the right, not only the right, but the obligation as well to terminate that government and reestablish another government that states those rights. So I know it's a lot to unpack, but that's what the U.S. Stands for, to my view.
I think that's exactly true. And it is a duty that and I think a lot of people might misunderstand that statement to mean that we should establish a different government or constitution if it
Hmm.
fits. No, we rescue the ideal constitutional government
Which is ideal,
from
certainly.
and so really it's not the government that's bad, it's the actors that are performing government duties that have betrayed public trust is what it comes down to, which
Exactly.
is, a punishable offense,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it should be, really,
Yeah.
because
And when
it's
you come
one down.
and when you come to think of it, is what a big responsibility. I mean, you're the hands of the people. I mean, the people are in your hands. I mean, I can't fathom that. What I don't know, but anyway, so this was an interesting topic. It's more political, but not political, but historical, and stating some of these things, which are very not complex, but we have to understand them in depth to really bring out everything that we can out of them. On the Divine Within podcast, we'll share real conversations to help you find a personal connection with God. My goal is to support your faith, growth, and journey toward discovering the divine within yourself. Join us to deepen your faith and spiritual journey.